What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today you're joining me in Laval, Quebec, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this IONIQ 5 that I rented and have driven about 350 miles in the last couple days. So let me just start with a walkthrough here. This is a Canadian spec IONIQ 5 because, again, I am in Laval, Quebec, and the specs that they have here are a little bit different than what's offered in the US. This is somewhere between an SE and an SEL. It has the SE front end and headlights with the fog lights, but it actually has rear vents, unlike the SE in the US. It has heated steering wheel, which I believe is only on the SEL and above in the US. It has the SE taillights. But it's a long-range rear-wheel drive. So it's not the all-wheel drive model, and it's not the small battery. But here it is, 19-inch wheels. Let me show you the efficiency that I've gotten and how much I've driven it. So here you can see the efficiency, 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, about 351 miles. I'm about to return it in about 13 hours. And we've had this car about 3-4 days, something like that. I've been driving it kind of all around Quebec, Montreal, Laval area, and really enjoying it. I've been driving it, riding passenger, charging it, and overall it's really good. It's really comfortable. These cloth seats are awesome. It's cool that the back seats actually recline and slide forward and back so you can get some more room. I'll show you that as well. But overall, I'm really pleased with this car, and I think it's a really good value. I'm actually considering selling my ID.4 and getting one of these because I really want the faster charging, and I can sell my ID.4 for kind of a profit, or at least come out totally even and then some, especially considering in the tax credit because I leased it and it was an instant credit, all that fun stuff. This does have the two-tone interior, the gray. Got the Morse code H on the steering wheel there, and it has actual physical buttons. They look like capacitive buttons like the ID.4, but they're not. They actually are buttons. These go up and down. Actually works really well. There's more information on this screen than the ID.4 would give you, so you can cycle through these things. Unfortunately, CarPlay does not show anything on the nav there, or on the instrument cluster, which is unfortunate, unlike the ID.4. You can see tire pressure. Again, ID.4 does not show live tire pressure. And here you can see kind of the driver assist, and you can cycle through. It has a attention level, which is kind of interesting. I tried it out. It's basically just make sure you pay attention, and if it's not yelling at you, you're going to be on the high versus low. But the last brake thing is kind of cool because it tells you when you last stopped. Here you can see 351 miles, as I showed you. 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour is pretty solid for mixed driving. Just charged it not that long ago. There we go. Again, it doesn't show any nav there unless you're using the built-in nav, but which doesn't have route planning or battery preconditioning, unfortunately. And then there's just tire pressure, nothing else there. Infotainment's quite snappy, overall pretty good. It's a little clumsy to go back and forth between Apple CarPlay and the rest of the system. I like that it uses the whole screen for CarPlay, but unlike the ID.4, you don't have a constant like menu bar home button to be able to just go to the in-car menu, but you also don't really need to use it that much. Here you have some of the hard buttons. You've got climate control here, which works pretty darn well. I haven't really played with these a whole lot, actually, but backup camera. Has USB-A, which is actually kind of annoying. They're not that fast charging, and CarPlay really does use a lot of power, so you kind of need it. I like this cubby here. I like this open space, this does not have the glass roof because that's only available on the Limited. But back seat, pretty comfortable. Pretty nice looking. The cloth seems durable. It's kind of a denim almost, I would say. Here you can see the trunk. That's just the charge cable. I actually rented this from a dealership on Turo. You got your space there. These fold, of course. And like I said, I rented this from a dealership, but through Turo. It seems Hyundai Canada is running a bit of a promotion right now. They have a bunch of dealers that have IONIQ 5s listed on Turo for pretty reasonable prices, about 100 Canadian a day. And I guess if you rent it and buy one, you get 500 Canadian off of the purchase price, which is kind of a cool program. Lets you do an extended test drive with fairly low commitment and without liability or really needing to get approval from the dealership or anything. You can just rent it on Turo like I did and do it. But I just rented it with no intention to buy, at least definitely not in Canada, and it was no problem at all. I must say it's really unfortunate that the car doesn't have battery preconditioning. I didn't have it low enough to take it to a 350 kilowatt station and actually really try it out to get the full peak speed, but I did charge it on a 180 kilowatt station and did get 180 kilowatt, which is pretty cool. That was at Couche-Tard. But anyway, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the IONIQ 5, whether you think I should sell my ID.4 and get one. I think I can find it pretty easily at MSRP. I'm also considering the IONIQ 5 standard range, but I haven't seen anything really about the charging curve or the range because they just started hitting dealerships. I don't really want to be the first one to get one without knowing a little bit more because the charging is so important to me. I definitely think if the IONIQ 5 had been available at the time that I got my ID.4, I definitely would have gotten the IONIQ 5 instead. It's just a better car for basically the same price. The ID.4 does have a little bit better package tiers or trim levels, like the glass roof being available on the Pro S, which is kind of the mid tier on the ID.4, whereas on the IONIQ 5 you have to go all the way up to the top tier to get a glass roof. Most of the time I actually keep my glass roof shut in the ID.4, so it's really not a big deal, and I kind of like the extra headroom, and it seems a little bit quieter in here without the glass roof. And being tall, headroom, pretty important. I'll have to try out the EV6 as well, but I like the the IONIQ 5 styling more, so I think that's what I would go with. Anyway, comment down below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time.